Hey, welcome back. A friendly reminder, this is not intended for children. This show especially is not intended for children. As always, the episode begins with a disclaimer about how the show is not intended to be taken as medical advice, and you should always check with your medical professional before trying anything. This episode's about sex. First, let's just get this out of the way. The episode is titled The Pleasure is Ours. Orgasms, orgasms, vulva, vulva, vulva.
Vulva.
This might be very uncomfortable for some of you. Actually, if it makes you uncomfortable, it might be a good episode to actually watch. In this episode, we meet a sex coach named Betty Dodson, who says that women need to learn how to run the fuck. So we learn that Gwyneth Paltrow, the woman who sold vagina candles, doesn't actually know what a vagina is. Interesting.
The vagina is only the birth canal? Oh.
The vagina is not actually interchangeable with vulva. The vulva is everything external. Maybe there will be a vulva candle now. So apparently this 90-year-old woman, Betty Dodson, who, P.S., looks amazing for her age. She's 90. She looks like a 65-year-old. Like, she looks really good for her age. So she runs orgasm workshops where she and her staffers answer the door naked, and they invite you in to sit naked in a circle. If you've watched the last two episodes, select Goop staff members will actually go into these workshops that are offered, like the psychedelic workshop and the Wim Hof method workshops. Both had Goop Lab members participating in it. So this episode is no different. However, they went with somebody else's workshop that was less naked. The other workshop is run by a lady named Isabella Frappier. Is a sexuality coach. She's a really soft-spoken woman who gives off quite a sexual energy, I find. She's dressed in a casual purple linen dress. Some of the fashion in this episode is eccentric. In Isabella's workshop, they talk about sexuality and how it still is taboo for women. And each member of the workshop will talk with Isabella about their experiences of feeling unworthy of their own sexual experiences, or how they feel uneducated about their own sexual wellness. They begin the workshop by taking self-portraits in order to feel beautiful and empowered. Switch back to Betty Dodson. And here they discuss how women are kind of encouraged to feel ashamed about their vulvas. Always thinking they're dirty down there. And they relate many of the negative nicknames that are common for vulvas. Axe wound, snatch, meat curtains. There's not a lot of pretty names for vulvas. And we don't see a lot of it. We don't see a lot of vulvas. We see more penises than we do vulvas, so that's good. That's kind of true. You know what? Yeah, we need to embrace vulvas just a little bit more theoretically. They go on to talk about surgically altered vulvas and pornography. Okay, they claim that the pornography has created a 45% increase in the number of labiaplasties between 2015 and 2016. Which is horrifying to think about. Like, the labia minora, they dangle. They're protective. It serves a purpose. So for women to think that they have to alter it to fit into like this mold is just a little, it's disturbing. And I think that's something in our society really needs to kind of focus on a little bit. There's nothing wrong with how you look. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Unless it's actually physically interfering with something. So, yeah, in this episode, they kind of imply, if not outright say, that selecting certain porn actresses who have more petite vulva and labia, they're trying to correlate being the reason for these labiaplasties. But I did a bit of a scientific literature review, and I couldn't actually find anything that linked the two together. There are a couple studies saying that women were just uncomfortable with how they looked, but those women didn't equate it to pornography. So I mean, Like maybe there is a connection, but it hasn't been statistically, scientifically proven yet. Back to Betty Dodson's her workshop. One of the first things they do is expose themselves to each other. Remember, these people answer the door naked, and then you become naked as well. So the owner takes a look at their vulva, and the rest of the group does as well, which is kind of interesting because I can't show it because there is nudity involved, but there's like a light that is shown down there. They have mirrors, and it's like literally a bunch of people like in a circle around the exposee, leaning in, just like examining it, like, like, wow, props, more power to you, I guess. Not something I could do, I don't think, and I'm pretty comfortable with my body. But anyway, yes, they do show a lot of vulva in this episode, and there are so many different shapes and sizes. Lip patterns are wildly different between women. Okay, just like our lips up here are different, fingerprints are different, our shape, everything's different, okay? There's variants out there, okay? Isabella talks about performative receiving, when women either fake their pleasure or accentuate their pleasure instead of being more truthful about what they like or do not like. Isabella has created this workshop in a way to help women overcome that hurdle of talking about what they like or what they don't like. And they start off with doing foot or hand massages, and she encourages the recipients to communicate what they like or do not like, which is honestly smart as hell, in my opinion. Switch back to Gwyneth Paltrow, and Elise. She divulges that she has never seen her vulva.
I have never really done the whole mirror, what's happening down there.
You've never seen yourself?
No.
This middle-aged woman has never seen her vulva. I'm so shook by that. Have you looked at yourself? Have you not? Grab a mirror, go exploring. Exploring is a part of your body. Learn it. Learn it. Love it. Anyway, back to Isabella's workshop. Isabella is now having her group members look into each other's eyes with no talking. It's kind of a weird vulnerability, and if you're doing it with someone that you care about, it's a good way of connecting weirdly. I don't know why. So this episode kind of follows Lexi on this journey.
I think I need to figure out my own body and what makes me feel good.
How she was very sheltered from sex, and this episode kind of tries to show her following a path of self-discovery and learning how to orgasm, but unfortunately the episode does not conclude whether or not she was able to get past her inability to orgasm. I'm disappointed. There was no conclusion. There was a climax, literally, at the end, but no conclusion for Miss Lexi. Apparently, Betty Dodson has a method that was actually studied. 500 Danish women who have suffered from anorgasmia, or the inability or difficulty with orgasming. And these 500 women were all taught and tried out the Betty Dodson technique of rock and roll. During this study, 465 out of the 500 women were able to reach orgasm. The study was actually published in 2008 in the Scientific World Journal. It was only in 2005, interestingly, that we fully understood the structure of the clitoris. All 8,000 nerve endings. More than a penis. Betty demonstrates that orgasms are important, and she equates them to reduction of stress, curbing appetite, boosting hormone levels, enhancing sleep, and enhancing your sense of smell. So while those are all true, these are temporary effects of having an orgasm. I did do some more research into sexual wellness, and sexual wellness in itself can absolutely create better mental well-being, a better sense of self, feelings of being important and loved. This episode also discusses a study involving PornHub, in which the most viewed videos showed females actually only orgasmed less than 19% of the time. And of course, these orgasms were heavily exaggerated. So near the end of this episode, we have Carlin, one of Betty Dodson's staff, or CEO actually. They do a very cinematic representation of Carlin taking herself to orgasm. Not gonna lie, that did make me a little bit uncomfortable. So, overall, thoughts. You guys are like, I understand that Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's store, has kind of shilled a bunch of things that weren't scientifically backed. But so far, I'm 3 episodes into Goop Labs, and I'm underwhelmed with lack of outrage. Like, a lot of these things that they are bringing up are like scientifically backed, but ever so slightly exaggerated, and not the whole story, but like too long, didn't read. It's not shit so far. It's not total bullshit. So I've read on Reddit subreddits that it does get a little bit snake oily as the episodes go on, so I guess we're just gonna have to keep watching this, aren't we? Have you watched the episode? How did it make you feel? Let me know in the comments. Comment, like, subscribe if you want to. Go ahead. And I'll see you next time.
It's our favorite subject.
Who?
Vaginas.
The vagina is the birth canal only.